What's up, you guys? What's up, bitches? It's me, Sneha St. Michaels, and welcome back to my motherfucking channel. So, how's everybody doing? It's time for story time. I feel like I haven't done a story time in forever. So, again, it's about this one particular situation, and I honestly just want to start from the very beginning to the very, very end, like right up to present day, because a lot of people are like, struggling to follow what's going on. And yeah, it shouldn't really be a public issue, but let me explain why I made it public. I made this a public issue because of the fact that there was so many like lies going around. There was a lot of shit talking going on. I was being called a liar. I think by now we all know I'm not a liar. My story slash version of what happened is 100% consistent and has been for the past 6 years up to present day. You know what I mean? So since the very start of our list to present day, my story's been consistent, okay? Their story, meaning Joe's story, mostly Joe's story, she has given us three different versions of what happened, and a lot of what that bitch says just doesn't make no sense. And she be trying to paint me in a way that just ain't me. And that's what I'm tired of people doing, is keep trying to paint me out how they see me. Like, bitch, if you want to know about who I am, just ask me. Like, you ain't got to be out there reaching at them straws, girl. You reaching. Anyway, stop being petty, Michael. Stop being petty. For 5 seconds, bitch, stop being petty. Okay, I'm back. I don't feel like being petty anymore. So I have some notes done, as always. You know, I come with the notes. And just a little disclaimer, I come with 6 years of screenshots too. So I just want to start off by disclaiming and saying the reason I want to do this is pretty much for my own sake and for everybody else's sake, but mostly my sake. Just to give you guys the complete timeline, and hopefully this is somewhat therapeutic. This is somewhat going to give me some kind of release. Still have full intentions on fighting this bitch when I see her. I've said this multiple times, because you can't get people from the back and then think that it is cool, you know. And I'm gonna get into it a lot more. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is it's going to be a story time of what happened, but also the reason it's going to be like a 4-part series is because I want to talk about the trauma, and I want to talk also about what I went through, and you know, what I went through when that first happened to me as opposed to how I am now. Because I can say openly, as much as I despise Jo, she changed my life. She beat me out of my shell. Literally, she beat the shit out of me, and I came out of my shell, and I am so different from the person I was 6 years ago to right now. Like, I am like, bitch, we are complete opposites. So yeah, so I have 3 pages of notes back to back. This is just for this first part because I do intend on talking a lot. Although there's only a little bit of notes, I do intend on talking a lot because what we're missing here is the details and other situations that contributed to this. Because, you know, I'm still questioning in my mind why this all happened, and it does drive me insane, because it's like, I don't know why. I asked her about it, and Jo said to me, I attacked you because you pissed me off. Girl, plenty of people in this world piss me off, but I don't feel the need to put my hands on them. And I don't feel the need to get them from the back. Like, bitch, you're weak. And you should be getting people from the front. Get them head up. Face to face. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, onto the story. Wait, bitch. Before we get on to the story, any one of these people involved in this story, by the way, I've given them fake names other than Jo. I've given them fake names, but if anybody else wants to come out and make a video response or anything like that, you're more than welcome to. My only question is, what would you say though? Because, yeah, you're gonna learn as this little mini series goes on that there is a lot of stuff that these bitches hide behind. There's a lot of lies on their end. There's a lot of just reaching. That's all I can say is like there's a lot of reaching going on. You know what I mean? Grasping at straws, trying to hang on for dear life, and they need to just accept the fact that at one point in time or another you were bullies. At one point in time or another, as much as Jo denies it, I still have the screenshot of her calling me a quote unquote fucking queer and a quote unquote faggot. So as much as she sits there and says that she's not homophobic and she's not like that and she loves everybody, I still have the screenshot. So I know I can talk for days, but let's get on to it. So basically, in my it was my third high school. I went to 3 high schools. I went to John Fisher. I got kicked out of there for getting into a fight. Again, if you guys want me to explain that story time, I will explain it. And then I went to Edmund Arrowsmith for a couple of weeks. I was on like, how can I describe it? Like, I wasn't allowed in John Fisher, so I had to go and spend like a week in Edmund Arrowsmith. I don't know why that's such a tongue twister, but I had to spend like a week in Edmund Arrowsmith, and I got kicked out of Edmund Arrowsmith for fighting. So, pretty funny story, by the way. It was basically a bathroom fight. Like this, I'm not proud of fighting, but like some fights I've been in are funny. So it's like, it started in the bathroom, and this one lad wanted to try and pick on me because I was the quiet one, and I seemed like an easy target. Yeah, I it got bad. We'll just say that much. I beat the daylights out of him, so I got kicked out of Edmund Arrowsmith, and then I ended up moving to Rose Bridge, and it was really difficult for me to make friends at first. Like, I'm that kind of person. I back then didn't open up. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know how to make friends. I lacked a lot of social skills. I was raised differently to a lot of people. Like, when I listen to people's childhood and things like that, I'm like, my childhood was so different. Like, it was so different. So I struggled with like social skills, like making friends, like being open. I'm diagnosed with a severe anxiety disorder. So that contributed. And I didn't get diagnosed with a severe anxiety disorder until I went to CAMS. And they were like, I got diagnosed with a few things, but they were like, it's your anxiety that is the major thing, as well as your eating disorder. So yeah, I was a nervous wreck. I didn't know how to make friends. And I was on my own for a lot of the time. And at first I was friends with one girl in particular, and then a guy who, yeah, we had a good time. We was all cool, but let me tell you a situation that happened though with those two. They did try and jump me. And this is what I mean. This is like when I say I'm not scared of nobody. I don't care if there's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4. I don't care. But we was on Welly Park, and they were together at the time. This girl and this guy that I used to hang around with, and all of a sudden, me and the guy start arguing, and he like swings. He like goes to attack me. So we end up fighting, and she comes from the back of me, and I shit you not, you can ask her herself. I grabbed this bitch from the back of me, and it was like some WWE shit, and I threw her whole body over me. I literally threw her whole body over me with one arm. I just was like, come here, you little bitch. Like, you're not grabbing me from the back, ain't happening. So we had a little situation there, and I think they both realised at that point, like, yo, Suha's got mad strong. So, like, it was no big beef, but it was like, you tried it. So after that, like, the girl that I was close with at the time, she got kicked out of the high school, Rosebridge, and the guy got kicked out, which was a funny story. The guy actually got kicked out because he was sniffing beak in the school toilets, and he was dumb enough to go and tell it. Oh, I'll never forget it. He told the head teacher of the school that he'd just done a line in the bathroom. And I was like, why would you say that? Like, I've never sniffed, I've never injected, I've done pills and all of that kind of shit. So, the first day of year 10, I'll never forget it. We had a bong before we went into school, right? We had a bong before we went into school. So, we went into school mad high. I was mad baked. He was mad baked. He had red eye, but he wasn't as baked as I was. And we had to go to a place called behavior support, right? And the fucking behavior support teacher's like looking, and she's like, are you high? And I'm like, I'm not high, no. But deep down inside, I was like so fucking high. Because we did like such like huge bong hits. Like, I was high as fuck. And like me being me, I'm like, I'm not about to grass myself in and tell this bitch that I'm high. So I'm like, I ain't high, no. So she let me go. This motherfucker, before she let me go out of the room, this motherfucker, meaning the guy, is like this. Sat on the chair, right? And the fucking behavior support teacher, she's like, I can tell you're high. She's like, look at your eyes. Your eyes are like mad red. You like mad like. That's how it was. I just had to give you some of that back context anyway. So then towards the end of year 10, me and Joe started to become close. It didn't just happen. Like, we didn't just become friends. It happened over like a gradual period. I want to say from like a couple of months before we finished year 10, that's when like I would see her in like lessons, and she'd smile at me, and she seemed really nice. She seemed really friendly, and she'd like whenever we see each other, she'd smile at me, I'd smile at her, and then we started just talking, getting to know each other, and she seemed really nice. Like, I'm not a hater like that. Like, Jo seemed lovely at first. Like, she seemed warm, welcoming, friendly, approachable, real, sweet. She seemed very just an all-around sweet person, but she seemed that way. Okay, appearances aren't always necessarily who the person is, so you can't base a person purely off of first impressions. And that's basically another reason why I'm doing this whole little mini series, is because I want y'all to realize that you can't just be trusting of people like that. Because bitch, I learned my lesson. So anyway, we was real close, and we got closer over time. We started talking, and then we became closer friends. We started hanging out in lessons, in school, on lunch breaks, break times, after school. I was in the foster care system at this time, and I had just moved to Bury with my second foster family. If y'all want me to do a story time on being in foster care and shit, because that was a whole nother drama within itself, I'll do that. But I went to live with my second foster carers in Bury. My first set of foster carers that lived in West Horton, they'd pretty much asked me to leave because my mental health was getting way too much. I wasn't diagnosed with double depression. You might know it as major depression. I wasn't diagnosed with that until after high school, and I went to the doctor. It wasn't even after high school, to be honest. It was after the age I was 18. Yeah, it was. After the age I was 18, because I wasn't in the residential home anymore. I'd moved out of the residential home. Yeah, so it was after I was 18, and I got diagnosed with DD, which is double depression. So it's like a really severe form of depression. And just I don't really feel like going into the rest about, my diagnoses and things, but I wasn't like some mentally unstable person. I just had like severely depressive episodes. So me and Jo got talking, and we became close. She opened up to me, I opened up to her, but not like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, everybody that knows me knows that knows that I don't open up to people straight away. It takes me a long, 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 long time. And I never fully opened up to Joe like that. I never fully opened up to anybody in that friendship group like that. I don't think ever in high school, ever not one time did I open up to anybody, really. So that's why I said in my live stream, like, bitch, you don't know nothing about me, but I know a whole lot about you. Checkmate, right? So, if you're wondering why I keep looking down, I'm reading my notes. I'm trying not to edit so much, especially when it's like situations like this, just so I can give you a straight run through. But then again, I don't want it to be too long. So I'm gonna go through my notes and then I'm gonna come back. Okay, disclaimer. I don't know if I've said that. Editing me, you need to check this, see if I've said that. But after me and Joe became close, I was introduced to Joe's friendship group. I've given everybody fake names, by the way, because I understand some people I'm cool with now, and we're cordial, and they've been like, can you just keep me out of it? So I respect it. I'll keep you out of it. So I've given people fake names. So this is, the only person who doesn't have a fake name is Joe, which is obviously an abbreviation of Jolene. So I met first. We'll call one of them K-Bob. Okay. I liked K-Bob. K-Bob was friends with Bradley and Charlie. But she don't want me to say her name, so I'm not going to say her name. She was friends with Bradley and Charlie growing up. And I remember, like, in my memory, thinking back to my childhood, I remember seeing her here and there. Like I said in my live stream, I only saw my dad for 5 hours on every Saturday. Like, my father was never really a father. That's why I refuse to give my father even the time of day. I refuse to acknowledge that man. I laugh at that man. And this may be hard, not hard, but this may be offensive to some of y'all, but just understand that this is how I feel. I would take a shit on that man's grave. I will throw a party when that man passes. And I know that sounds harsh, but I cannot stand that man. And that man is nothing but a big bully that lives with his mother still. Like, how are you in your 40s living at home with your mother, and the way you look down on people like you're so much better than everybody else? I don't get it. But yeah, you just focus on staying in your mum's back room. So I liked K-Bob, and then there was a girl, we're going to call her Alice. Alice was related to K-Bob, and I liked Alice. Alice was cool. K-Bob was more energetic and bubbly and fun. Like, me and K-Bob got on really well in terms of friendship. But so did me and Alice. It was like two different friendships. Like, with K-Bob, I could be silly, I could be energetic, I could be bubbly. With Alice, I could be more monotone, more chill, that kind of vibe. Who else have we got? Quiet girl. That's what I'm going to refer to one of them as, like, because I'm shit with picking names. So I was like, quiet girl. I don't have much to say on her other than she was just really quiet, and she wasn't my cup of tea. Like, she wasn't my person. Like, she was too quiet for me. She was almost, with all due respect, she was boring. And I don't like boring people because, as you will see over time on this channel, I'm a huge fucking personality. So, and I'm very complex. So I can't stand plain Janes. I can't stand boring ass people. I can't stand quiet people like that just sit there and want to say nothing all the time. Not my thing. Each to his own, but it's just, we was like oil and water. We weren't meshing. I was more like K-Bob. I was energetic, fun, bubbly, have a laugh. Me and K-Bob used to like be like this. We used to sit next to each other in childcare. We used to have such a laugh. But I was more like K-Bob. So it was like, Quiet Girl, she was never really my cup of tea, but I never had a problem with her. I still to this day don't have a problem with her. She's just not my cup of tea, and I guess I'm not her cup of tea. We just didn't mesh. So, who else do I need? Oh, Dee Dee. Dee Dee was somebody, I just want to put this out there. Dee Dee was somebody I never considered a friend. And I've said this to Dee Dee's face before, and I'm going to address this a little bit later on. If we've got time in part one, I'm going to address this a little bit later on about my thoughts on Dee Dee. I told Dee Dee straight to her face, like, I feel like you fake. I feel like you two-faced. I feel like you're not a real friend. And I just, like, when I met her for the first time, it was just, you know, when you get that vibe, like, I gotta watch you kind of vibe. You know, like, you don't seem, you seem like a fake bitch. Like, so me and Dee Dee at the time, it was like, I don't like, no, like, you're just not my cup of tea. Like, certain parts of you I like, but like, in general, no. Like, you're not my cup of tea, you a fake ass bitch. And it just is what it is. And we got on together as a friendship group. Like, well, that was our friendship group, us five. But our friendship group, so there's us five, our friendship group extends out further. Think of it like a ripple effect. So there's us five in the middle, and then there's more, and then there's more and more. So that's how our friendship group was. It kind of expanded outwards. And shit was okay. Like, I remember year 10 being cool. Like, year 10, towards the end of year 10, I was like, I'm buzzing. I got friends. These people seem really nice. Like, we didn't have an argument. Like, the first 8, 10 months of being friends, none of us, like, well, I wouldn't say none of us, but I didn't have any arguments with nobody because I'm peaceful. So, there was a party in the summer of year 10. I got invited to a party by a girl that I barely knew. So it was kind of like, you know, I look back at that now and I'm like, it seems suspect. Not in a bad way, but kind of like, I don't know why you wanted me to attend. Like, I'm thankful for the invitation, obviously, and it was a good party, but like, I don't get it. Like, because if I'm coming to your party, like, I would expect you to come over to me and talk to me and get to know me a little bit and, you know, at least bother to put in some effort. And the girl whose party I went to, she never really did that. So I was kind of like, what's the point in inviting somebody over to your party, but you're not, A, you don't know them that well, and B, you're not even attempting to get to know them. So I was confused as to what the fuck that was all about. So this party, everybody got super wasted. It was not just me. There was a couple of situations that happened at that party I want to talk about. Everybody got plastered at that party. So don't come for me when you hear this next bit, because everybody got plastered at this party, not just me. When I tell you there was fucking cans everywhere, there was drink, all kinds of liquor, like everything everywhere, like boxes, like not proper boxes, but like plastic boxes filled with ice, and it had drinks in because it was the summertime. It was like every kind of liquor you could think of. So everybody was drinking, and I must have had about 12 cans, one after the other, in the space of, I'm not even kidding you, in the space of like an hour, I had like 12 cans. I shit you not, it was like every time I would take a mouthful of my can, it was almost like the can wasn't going down. But the day after, I ended up remembering every time I finished a drink, because everybody was so plastered and having a good time. I'd finish a drink, like a can or something, for example. It'd be taken off the table, it'd be put in the bin, and somebody had put a fresh can there. And I was like chatting away because there was people at this party that I hadn't seen since I was in John Fisher. There was people in that party at that party that I hadn't seen since not high school, primary school. So I was like chit-chatting to everybody, getting to catch up, and that was nice. And basically, I want to talk about a situation that doesn't have much to do with this, but it is basically a situation where, I don't care, I'm going to say the person's name, sue me, I don't give a shit. I'm going to say the person's name because what you did was fucked up. So Keenan Sudworth, there was a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but basically this guy came up to me. Like I said, everybody was plastered. We had a really good time. Everybody was plastered. Everybody was drunk. So this guy comes up to me and he's like, I've been asking everybody for a kiss, but nobody wanted to give me a kiss. So me being drunk, I'm like, I'll give you a kiss. Like, I don't mind. Like, I'm not trying to get with you. You're not my type or anything like that. So it's nothing. It's not like I'm trying to snag you or get with you. It's like, if you want a kiss, like, I'm drunk as fuck, I'll give you a kiss. It's no problem. So I gave him a kiss. And Keenan Sudworth, the sly little bastard that he is, snags a picture. And I remember seeing the picture the next day, so I know the picture existed because I got sent the picture. And it's basically me and this lad kissing. And this lad, bear in mind, this lad is straight. Okay. And I'm gay, so it looks completely different. When Keenan took that picture, this is what I mean, sly bitches. Keenan took that picture, and I don't know what Keenan was going to do with that picture. But Keenan was sending it around to people. That's how it got to me. So, without knowing the situation, because Keenan, what actually happened was, he was trying to get a kiss from anybody. Because we were all plastered and nobody was giving him a kiss. And I was walking up and down the yard, like, talking to people. And he came up to me and he was like, hey, oh, like, I just want a kiss. Somebody give me a kiss. And I said, fuck it, I'm drunk. I'll give you a kiss. It wasn't like the man was bisexual or he was gay or he was experimenting. It was strictly just a kiss. And Keenan was sharing it, not publicly, but like via messages. He was sharing that picture with people, and that picture got sent to me. And Keenan was basically trying to spin it into this guy that's straight is gay, or is bi-curious, or is wanting to experiment. That's not what happened. So Keenan, you do owe that guy an apology. I don't want an apology from you because I don't like you. But you do owe that man an apology for doing what you did to that man. Because that wasn't right. Especially because that man, I remember being told that the man in the picture you see me kissing was incredibly upset. Like, livid at the fact that Keenan had slyly took this picture and had gone sending it to people and making out like this guy was bi-curious or he was experimental or he was gay. That's not what it was. It was everybody being drunk and he wanted a kiss, I gave him a kiss. Like, Keenan, you need to get your motherfucking facts straight. Like, and you owe that man an apology because what you did to that man was horrible. So, anyway, we carry on drinking. My drunk ass starts giving people lap dances. The girl, I was giving people from my past, like people I used to chop it up with in high school, like I was giving them lap dances. People I used to chop it up with in primary school, I was giving them lap dances. The girl at the party, oh my God, I actually ended up giving her dad a lap dance. And I was like, oh my God. So another guy, I'm not going to say his name, came up to me. I'm not going to say his name because he's well known. Do you want to know a story? Real quick. When I was in the residential home, a girl in the residential home who I was living with, he was messaging her like years later. Like, he was messaging her and she's like, do you know such and such? And I'm like, girl, like, he was begging me for a lap dance at this party that I went to, like this party I'm on about now. And she was like, her accent makes me laugh. She's like, I'm not fucking talking to him. Ew. I was like, girl, like, he ain't gay, no, but he came up to me at the party. He's not gay, he's not bisexual, he's straight. He came up to me at the party and I shit you not, ask anybody that was at that party. That guy was whispering sweet nothings into my ear that whole night. He was coming up to me, he was like, hey yo, come give me a lap dance. Like, hey yo, like, come shake your ass on me. So I did. I gave him a lap dance and he was talking to me and he was, like I said, sweet nothings, and I'm like, it's in one ear and out the other, like, because when I get drunk, I'm a partier, I'm energetic as fuck, so I'm like, you know, I don't care. So he was like, a couple of times he come up to me and he was like, give me a lap dance, so I gave him a lap dance, and then he comes up to me and I'm like in the middle of a conversation with some people. He comes up to me from the back and he whispers into my ear, he's like, I'm gonna go and stand against this wall. Because his man downstairs was up, if you get what I'm saying. So he whispers into my ear, he's like, I'm going to stand against this wall, not a wall, it was a fence. I'm going to stand against this fence come and shake that ass on me. And this was before I got ass injections. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna shake my flat ass, like my little flat. If you go back and look at pictures, like I'm flat as fuck. You look at me now and I'm like, boom. I do plan on doing a story time about that too. But yeah, I was like shaking it. Like, not right now, like, I'll show you how I shake it now. Like, I shake it real good now. You know what I mean? Like, we shake it good now, but girl, I was flat. Let me show you though. Not fully, I'm not going straight, but like I got ass. I got plenty of ass, so I got plenty of ass now. But back then I was like flat as fuck. So, anyway, in this party, another guy starts hitting on me. This is the God's honest truth. Can ask anybody that was there. This guy, I'm not going to say his name, he was bisexual and he kept whispering into my ear, "You go and come upstairs with me later. Are you going to come upstairs with me later?" And my ass got so drunk that we ended up going into the house, like the girl's house. We ended up going in and everybody was plastered. I mean, everybody was. So we're going upstairs and Dee Dee, never forget it, it was the funniest shit ever. Dee Dee had her head in the toilet, like her fringe was touching the toilet water and she was being sick. And me and Joe was there, me and K-Bob was there. I can't remember if Alice was there. Couple of other people and a different guy that I went to high school with and primary school with also. What can I call him? I can't say his real name. Let's just call him... Oh my God, what can I call him? I'm trying to write him down. Somebody help me think of a name. Peter, let's call him Peter. Let me write that down, just so I don't forget. Peter in quotations, so I don't forget. So Peter, like, me, Joe, K-Bob, I really can't remember if Alice was there, but we were helping Dee Dee because she was that drunk. Her head was in the in the toilet. So I think it was K-Bob that went and wet a cold towel. Went and wet a towel with cold water, and we was like, we got her out the toilet, and like K-Bob and Joe, even me at one point was like patting her head, like saying, "Are you okay? You good?" And she's like, she just wasn't talking, so we was like, is she conscious? Is she unconscious? We didn't know. So we thought, it wasn't me, but I can't remember who it was. Someone phoned Dee Dee's dad to come and get her. And this motherfucker turns up with a wheelchair. With a wheelchair to come and take her out. Imagine you're at a party with all your friends and one of your friends gets lit and gets plastered, and then their father turned up in a wheelchair. He was in a wheelchair. He turned up with the wheelchair to take her out. It was I think it was even funnier because we were all pissed. Like, it was just funny. So before her dad comes, Peter is like, I feel somebody like dry humping me. I'm like bent over trying to, it's hard to explain. Like, there was a bathroom, like it was a bedroom and then a bathroom, and then there was like a cabinet, not a cabinet, a dresser, but the dresser was big and the bed was really close. So in the bathroom there was Dee Dee with her head in the toilet, Joe and K-Bob, and I'm bending over the cabinet to like pass her the to pass her this cold tea towel cloth thing to put on her head, you know, hopefully so she sobers up. And I feel someone like dry humping me, like, you know, and I'm like, excuse me, like, because at the time, like I said, I had no social skills. Like, I didn't know how to interact with men. I've been out as gay for like since year 7. If you know that story time, I didn't even get a chance to come out on my own. Bitches putting me on blast, but yeah, I was like, I didn't know how to like approach men and that, and this motherfucker's dry humping me, and I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, who the fuck is dry humping me? And this guy, I shit you not, Peter, has got his dick out in front of everybody, and he's flapping it up and down like that, and I'm like, oh my God, no. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. Anyway, so we go back down. Dee Dee goes home in the in the fucking wheelchair. We go back down, we all start drinking again. I've got the other guy coming up to me from before going, yo, come and give me a lap dance. You know, whispering in my ears. He's like, hey, yo, you can twerk even though you ain't got no ass. I'm like, I can twerk now, motherfucker. So if you'd have met me now, like, you know, you wouldn't find any complaints because I'm a thicker. So, but anyway, it was like, everybody was drinking, having a good time. We're all getting even more smashed. By this point in the day, I've lost track of how many drinks I've had. But like I said, I'm a lit partier, so I'm like, I was loving it. I go upstairs with Peter, and me and Peter end up kind of hooking up. We end up kind of hooking up at first. We're like kissing and stuff, and just having, you know, kissing, touch, a little feel here and there, and, you know, like you do. And the door shoots open, the bed, because we went upstairs to the bedroom door shoots open, and he literally I was on top of him, and he was like lie down, I was on top of him. He like throws me off him, and he like runs out the room. It's the funniest shit ever. I'm like, just on the floor, like with no drawers on, I'm like, and everybody's laughing, like, I'm like, oh my God, this is not happening. So he leaves, and then my mind's a little bit blurry from there. I do remember the other guy, not the guy that was whispering the sweet nothings into my ear, but the other guy that was trying to get me to go upstairs with him. He was like, you want to go upstairs? And I'm like, at this point I literally said to him, fuck off. I said, stop trying to get me to come upstairs with you. Like, I'm drunk, I just want to have a good time. Why are y'all trying to get me to come upstairs with you? And I didn't realise that Peter and the guy that was trying to get me to come upstairs, I didn't realise they were both bisexual. I didn't know that, so it made sense why they were hitting on me. I just couldn't understand why the straight guy with the tattoos was whispering sweet nothings into my ear, like every fucking 5 minutes. Yo, hey, yo, come shake this ass on me. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. Me being drunk as fuck, like I said, I was giving everybody got a lap dance from me that day. So, little bony ass back then, like, I'm so happy I got injections. So, anyway, I end up going down. The next thing I remember is going downstairs, and I fall downstairs. Literally, I fall downstairs, and it's like, you know, one of those stairs that have like the thing that goes like that, and they've got the little like podium things. I fell and broke like 3 of them. So I do apologise to that girl and her family and her house. I didn't mean that. I did literally fall, like I slipped straight down the stairs. And I go outside. I don't remember this. Thank goodness I do not remember this. But I go over to the trampoline, and I'm like, you want to hook up? And he's like, I said to the guy that I originally went upstairs with and got caught with, I'm like, do you want to hook up? And he's like, right here, right now, in front of everybody. Bear in mind, I'm drunk as fuck. I don't realise that there's a whole garden of people. Ugh. I don't realise there's a whole garden of people there, and I basically give him a fellatio in front of everybody. Thank God I don't remember that, and thank God nobody recorded it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that was bad. So I ended up being escorted out, and I remember I was a mess at this point. I remember coming out the car, like when my foster carers took me home that night, I remember I went to get out the car and I just went, on the floor. And I had to be carried in because I just lost count, but it was one of the most funniest nights I've ever had in my life. I'll be real. One of the most funniest. Not only that, just to let you guys know, there was a lot of sexual activity going on. I didn't know, like, I seen Dee Dee and Peter. It looked like they were hugging at one point, and they were like walking. It was like they were both walking together, but hugging. Anyway, I found out he was giving her some fingers. And we're all sat there thinking they're just having a hug and a kiss. He's really sticking his finger in a cooch. I'm like, oh my, in front of everybody, and you're mad about me giving you some head in front of everybody. But you're like, this, then I'm like hugging, and like everybody thinks she's just hugging, having a catch up, and yeah, that shit. I was like, oh my God. I was like, but then again, I can't talk because I give a guy head in front of everybody. So, in front of everybody. So, yeah, that was one of the funniest nights ever. like literally, but it was a really good party and it brung us all. I remember the day after we was all laughing about it. Other than the Keenan situation, which Keenan, you really need to apologise to that lad. You really do, because that was some shady shit. Like you didn't need to do that. Other than that, everybody was laughing. Everybody was chill, and I'd left my phone there at the girl's house because I was so drunk. I left my phone at the girl's house, and I went back for it the next day. And I come in, knock on the door. Her dad answers. I said,